All right, welcome back to Prep Sports Junkies here at StateChampsNetwork.com. I'm Scott Bernstein along with the big fella Jeff Dulac. We're here every week breaking down the most pressing and important issues on the high school sports landscape in the state of Michigan. This week we're going to talk a little Catholic League Central football. For my dollar, it's the best league in the state when you're talking about the prep pigskin ranks. You can go up against, really, in my opinion, any league in the country. Right. You can put these 5 teams up with any other league in the country, and we're going to crown a new champion this year. Yeah. Birmingham Brother Rice, the 3-time defending Catholic League Central champion, is on the outside looking in. Mm-hmm. They're going to miss the playoffs for the first time since, I think, 1998. Yep. Bill Clinton was in the White House. It's been a while. Back then, it wasn't the 6 wins and you're in. It's been prior to the new playoff system being enacted, so you can tell how long it's been since a orange and black team wasn't in the postseason. But we're going to crown a new champion. It's down right now between Warren De La Salle, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, and Novi Detroit Catholic Central. And JD, why don't you break down where we are right now in the race?
Right now, where we stand is it's De La Salle's to lose. They're in the Prep Bowl. They've made some statement wins over the last couple of weeks, and now it's going to come down to Catholic Central. If Catholic Central can beat Warren De La Salle by 14 points, then they unseed Detroit Catholic Central as being in the...
They unseed Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Orchard Lake St. Mary's being in the Prep Bowl, and St. Mary's would be out. St. Mary's right now holds that second spot, but it's to be seen how this weekend unfolds between Catholic Central and De La Salle.
And St. Mary's is on a bye week right now. They won't play again until week 9.
Right.
And as you said, De La Salle is in regardless, in the Prep Bowl at Ford Field in 2 weeks. Catholic Central, even if they beat De La Salle, they're not guaranteed a spot in the Prep Bowl. As you said, they got to win by 2 touchdowns or more.
That's the points breakdown that would kind of help out the seeding come a tiebreaker or any type of scenario like that in the Catholic League.
And St. Mary's lost to De La Salle pretty handily a couple weeks ago, but have looked really good in responding from that. They put a sterling effort, posted a sterling effort last week against Catholic Central. It was a 14-0 game into the final 30 seconds. CC got on the board in the last minute of play, but it was really a shutout. Great performance by Josh Ross. Best linebacker in the state, regardless of class, in my opinion. He's only a junior, had about 15 tackles, game-securing pick. He was all over the field doing the damage that he can do, sideline to sideline, as a leader, as a tackler, as a playmaker. They got a great defense led by Ross, Dwayne Chapman, the Detroit Dog. In the secondary, you got Griffin Sheeposh, Tyler Cochran. Who else do you like on that team?
It comes down to just the players that you just mentioned, but their depth is, in my opinion, what celebrates them. They're a team that it can be next man up. They've had to deal with a little bit of injuries, but as a whole, that's a defense that really just I don't know if there's a defense more deep than that. Warren De La Salle, in my opinion, has the best defense out there in the state, but maybe the deepest defense in the state belongs to St. Mary's.
Yeah, and then move over to the offensive side of the ball. I'm actually surprised that the offense isn't kind of more prolific this year, and I think it's only going to pick up pace as we head towards the playoffs, and there's a level of comfortability there that these guys have been playing together now for a while, and I think Brandon Tabone, their senior quarterback, is really going to open it up come the playoffs. They got that great running game. They go 3 or 4, really good running backs deep into that running back stable, but Brandon Tabone can really toss it around. Sheeposh, KJ Hamler, in my opinion, the best slot receiver in the state.
I think the playoffs is where we're going to really see that offense, hit that next level. They have KJ Hamler, and I think that's something they're going to want to. That the combination of Tabone and Hamler in the playoffs is something that I think is what's going to separate St. Mary's from the rest of the teams in Division III. That running game, they want to set up the pass, make sure that defenses stack the box trying to stop the run. Then they're going to get some one-on-ones with some really talented receivers out there.
Yeah, they're 7-1 right now. A name to keep an eye out for from the underclassmen, Kyren Cunningham, had about 8 tackles as a linebacker. He is a speedmeister, going sideline to sideline, and has looked really strong. Let's go to De La Salle for a second. I'm just really surprised at the repeat effort that we're seeing. They won the program's first ever state championship last year. They had to replace a lot of major playmakers, including their quarterback Joey Garbarino. Sorry, Joey. And their star running back has been banged up almost the whole year, Alan Stritzinger. So you've had to have Josh Wilkes step in, go from the secondary to quarterback as a senior, and it's like this guy's played quarterback his whole life. He looks so good. He's been gaining momentum every week. And then you got True Wilson coming over from the defensive side of the ball, filling that #1 ball carrier slot for Stritzinger, and he is just a beast. Right.
True Wilson, for starters, he was my midseason MVP. He's a guy that team, rallies around him. He's a guy who, like you said, steps in for Stritzinger when they need a running back. The secondary, he leads from the secondary.
Not many harder hitters from the secondary.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you look at what really impresses me, and it's more of the program and it's the offense of De La Salle. You look at the quarterbacks that they've gone through over the last 5 years, and it's just next man up. They have a good leader that steps in there. Regardless of where this quarterback might end up, whether it's Shane Morris or Giovanni Ruscino or Joe Garbarino or Josh Wilk, there's always a good leader that they put in charge of that offense. I think that's what makes them really successful.
Josh Wilk just looks really good from that first part of the season where he was kind of learning the position to now where he's like Tom Brady back there running that offense.
Yeah, he what's impressive is, like you said, running the offense. He's not the most polished passer you're going to see, but he runs that offense very well. His running game is set up by the running game, whether it's Stritzinger or Wilson, and that success leads to his ability to pass the ball. They've got a really good receiver. I think one of the most underrated receivers in the state, Miles Charlie. Yeah. And that's just a very dynamic offense. I don't think people quite know how dynamic it is.
Yeah, defensively they got guys like Asbury and Beasley that are going to play Division I football. Beasley's going to Bowling Green, I believe. Asbury's going to Western Michigan. Right. And there's just a lot of heart and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with all Paul Bursker teams. And when you add the talent and you add the tradition that they started last year with that state title, they got a taste of it and they want more.
Absolutely.
Let's quickly talk about Catholic Central. They are 6-2 right now. Yep. Bouncing back from a rare playoff miss last year. Yep. They got a freshman at quarterback, Austin Brown, that looks really good. Nick Capatina, junior running back, following his brother Anthony's footsteps, is stepping into that main ball carrier role. Alex Bach, you don't get more consistent when you're talking about a slot back / defensive back. They're all really rallying around Tyler Laurentius, their senior captain, leader in the secondary. His mom is battling brain cancer right now, and they've dedicated the season to her. And Catholic Central, although they looked a little bit listless last week in the game against St. Mary's, they're playing inspired football and headed back to the playoffs, and could really be destined for doing some real damage.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a Catholic Central team, and I think it can be said about any Catholic League team that once they get in the playoffs, anything can happen with those teams because they're battle-tested. They're teams that have played the best competition in the state and outside of the state of Michigan. They're as well prepared as anybody in the state. And what really, I believe, sets apart this Catholic Central team is that defense. I think, they learned from last year. It's a defense that grew together, and I think, around Tyler Laurentius, who I think is a very underrated defensive back.
God, is he good? Because he plays in the secondary, then he also kind of plays like a de facto linebacker.
Right.
He's slot him for 8, 9, 10 tackles every game.
Exactly, and I think that Catholic Central team can step up and be as good as any team defensively. That's the three really models that we've talked about throughout these top 3 teams in the Catholic League division. St. Mary's, De La Salle, and Catholic Central, their defense is what really helps set them apart.
All right, to finally, just to conclude, real quick, UD Jesuit is probably going to make the playoffs, most likely. Right. They got a breakout star in Scott Nelson, and then a junior quarterback in Mike Sims that looks really strong on their center. Hats off to the Cubbies. And then Birmingham Brother Rice, just mentioned a couple things about them. Obviously a down year, not the kind of year you expect from the orange and black, but they got a couple young guys to keep an eye out for in the underclassmen. Ruben Williams at running back, Matt Jordan at wide receiver, and they got a couple young quarterbacks. Steve Krajewski, Johnny Tracy, and then right now it looks like they might start a freshman this week, calling him up from the JV. Mario Valente has gotten a lot of hype before he reached high school as one of these guys to keep a lookout for as a signal caller at the prep level, and he is just another one of these 2019 quarterbacks. There's a lot of them. Austin Brown at CC, Sam Johnson over at Southfield. I know Clarkson's got a really good freshman signal caller that's not playing right now. And it's not. There are some positive things to take away from this Brother Rice season, which has been pretty much a train wreck. But nonetheless, I think there are some positives to build.
You look at this Brother Rice team, And I think you kind of saw maybe a step back coming after the players that they lost last year. But you look at the young talent they have this year, and it really bodes well for the type of experience that they're getting. And going into next year, I really think this could be the same type of, same thing that Catholic Central went through last year. They missed the playoffs, and they're going to bounce back and be a team to be reckoned with.
And then don't forget about Carter Dunaway, the Michigan-bound tight end that's just really, really good catching the football and also can rush the passer.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll see you down at Ford Field at the Prep Bowl where we crown a new state champion. Jeff, who do you think it's going to be?
I can't go against De La Salle. Defense wins championships, and they have the best defense in the state.
Yeah, I'm going to say the Pilots fly and get this Catholic League title too. And we will see you next week at Prep Sports Junkies. I'm Scott Bernstein for the Big Fella. We'll see you then.